There's this biological rhythm that's absolutely fundamental to human life, but for so many of us, it's still kind of a mystery. We're talking about the menstrual cycle. And in this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain on this incredible process, using visuals to make it all crystal clear. So let's dive in.
Right? So what is it that makes this incredible 28-day clock tick? What's the intricate dance of hormones and anatomy that's driving this whole thing? That's the big question we're going to unpack today. Okay, so before we can get into the how, we've got to understand the where. Let's start with the body's foundation.
And really, at the very base of it all, we're talking about the anatomy of the pelvis. This bony structure is like the stage for everything that's about to happen.
Now, when you look at this, it's so much more than just a bunch of bones, right? You can see how these different parts all fuse together to form this incredibly strong basin. And it's not just there for support. No, it's actually designed to be a cradle for life.
And that's its whole purpose, really. Its most crucial job in reproduction. I mean, this whole structure is basically an expertly engineered passageway. Its shape, its width, everything is optimized for one incredible journey.
This journey is broken down into 3 key stages. You have the inlet, where the journey begins, the cavity, which is the midpoint, and the outlet, the final passage. Now, while this canal is obviously essential for childbirth, the monthly cycle we're talking about today, well, that's driven by a whole different process. So, let's pivot and look at the hormonal rhythm that makes it all possible.
All right, now we get to the main event, the 28-day rhythm itself. This is where the magic happens.
Okay, wow. So at first glance, this chart might look a little intimidating. There's a lot going on, but don't worry, this is basically our roadmap for the rest of this explainer. It shows everything happening perfectly in sync, what's going on in the ovary, what our hormones are doing, and how the uterus is responding. We're going to walk through it together, step by step.
So, who are the real conductors of this whole process? It's the hormones. Seriously, think of them like musicians in a perfectly timed orchestra. Each one plays its part at the exact right moment to create this beautiful biological symphony.
And our symphony kicks off on day 1. If you look at our chart, this first half of the cycle is called the follicular phase. This is when the body is busy preparing for ovulation. Okay, so the first instrument we hear is the follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH for short. See that green line on our chart? It's starting to rise. That hormone is basically a message sent from the brain down to the ovaries, telling them, hey, it's time to get an egg ready.
Now, as that follicle starts to grow and mature, it begins releasing its own hormone, and that's estradiol. That's the purple line on our chart, and look at how it builds up to that massive peak. Estradiol's main job here is to rebuild the uterine lining, getting it all plush and ready for a potential pregnancy.
And this is the climax of the first half. It's an amazing feedback loop. That huge peak in estradiol sends a signal back to the brain, which then responds with this massive, dramatic surge of another hormone, luteinizing hormone, or LH. See that super sharp blue spike? That is the trigger. It's the final command that tells the follicle to rupture and release the egg. And boom, that's ovulation.
Okay, so the egg has been released. What happens now? Well, we enter the second half of the cycle, which is called the luteal phase. The whole focus shifts now from preparing for ovulation to preparing for potential pregnancy. So that empty follicle that just released the egg, it doesn't just disappear. It transforms into something new called the corpus luteum. And its main job is to start pumping out the star hormone of this phase, progesterone. If we go back to our chart, that's the orange line that rises and really dominates this whole second half. Progesterone is what keeps that uterine lining thick and stable, ready and waiting.
So let's just recap that incredible hormonal dance, right? Think of it in 3 acts. Act 1, the follicular phase. That's days 1 to 14, and it's all about building up to release an egg. Act 2 is the main event, ovulation, happening right around day 14. And Act 3, the luteal phase, is all about preparing and waiting. Now, if pregnancy doesn't happen, those hormone levels drop, the lining is shed, and the whole beautiful cycle starts all over again.
Okay, so we've seen the what and the how, but why does this all matter? Why is this cycle so incredibly important?
Well, it matters for a few huge reasons. First and most obviously, it's the engine of human reproduction. It's how we continue as a species. But it's also considered a vital sign, just like your heart rate or your blood pressure.
A regular cycle is a really strong indicator of your overall health, and any changes can actually be an early warning that something else is going on. And finally, these hormonal rhythms, they influence our entire body, affecting everything from energy levels and bone density to our mood. It's all connected.
And that just brings us to one final thought. This incredible 28-day cycle is just one of the body's many hidden rhythms. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other biological clocks are ticking away inside of us every single day, shaping our health and our lives in ways we're only just beginning to understand?